I'm sure there's one thing on your guys' mind when you're looking at this bike, debating on buying it, which was on my mind, and kind of even after I purchased this, it was still on my mind a little bit, honestly. Is should I have went with, or should you go with the Adventure Sport, or I call it the base version. I'm not too sure. I'm going to call it the base Africa Twin and then the Adventure Sport. And I know that's the wrong way to state it because now the base Africa Twin is not really a base Africa Twin. I mean, that machine, hey, buddy. Whoo! Wow, did you all see that? That was a close call, huh? Yeah, that was a close one. But anyways, the base Africa Twin, she didn't even have her blinker on. Like, holy smokes. Anyways, let me get back on track here. The base Africa Twin is, I don't know if I want to be in front of her. She's probably out there texting. But anyways, the base Africa Twin is such a feature-packed machine, and you can really get it however you want now. Let me get this and I'll get past her. There, she'll be stuck at that light. Nope, she ran it. Oh, son of a gun. Okay. Oh, Jiminy Crickets. Okay. Anyways, it's hard for me to focus with a hooligan like that. Okay. So, you guys are like, dude, shut up and get to the point. The base Africa Twin, you can get with electronic suspension. I'm not sure if you can get it with heated grips now. Of course, that's a accessory that anybody could add on to the bike, but I'm not sure if you can buy it with them. Anyways, that's a mild add-on, right? You're talking 130 bucks or something for that add-on. But you got so much on the base one. And the biggest thing is the base Africa Twin now comes with tubeless tires. The previous years, again, I had the 2022 Adventure Sport Africa Twin, and you had to go with the Adventure Sport to get tubeless tires. Me personally, I hate tube tires. I can't stand them. I can't change them. I think tubeless, they're easy. You plug them, bam, go on your way, get to a shop, and you're good to go. A tube, you're going to be sitting there for an hour or so, changing it. If you can change it, I personally can't change tube tires. So when you look at the base Africa Twin now with options that you can get it at with electronic suspension, without electronic suspension, you can pretty much build the base Africa Twin. It also has the adjustable windscreen now, but it comes with a small one, but whatever. I'm going to be changing out the windshield on my Adventure Sport as well. But again, you can spec out the base Africa Twin to darn near be a 2022 Adventure Sport pretty much. When you think about it, right? Tubeless tires are standard. Electronic suspension, you pick that. Now, what will dealers be getting? I think most dealers are going to be getting them with the electronic suspension just because that's more profit for them, right? I doubt we'll be seeing many of the base low option trimmed Africa Twins. That'll depend on your area. So when you look at that, you can really break it down to what you want. But I'll be honest with you, like, why did I go with the Adventure Sport when, again, I had the 2022 Adventure Sport 21-inch front wheel? I ride a lot of dual sport riding. I thought the Africa Twin would be my do-it-all bike. I was actually just at a store about an hour ago, and this guy goes, "Hey man, how you like the bike?" I said, "Oh man, I love it." I said, "You like the Africa Twin?" I mean, I can talk Africa Twin all day long, you know. I'm an Africa Twin fanboy. Absolutely love them. And he goes, "Oh yeah, I've had my eyes on them for a while." Like, yeah, they didn't bring the 23s to the States, but now with the 24s, now the Adventure Sport, it comes with that 19-inch front wheel. And he goes, "Oh yeah, you know," and he goes, "That's what I want. I want my all-around do-it-all bike." And I told him, I said, "You know, I love the Africa Twin. I think you got to really understand what the bike is. Like, no matter which way you slice it, it's a 500+ pound bike. Can it do everything? Yes. Yes, it can. This machine is better than 90% of us out there. And that's the great thing about it. You buy a lower end bike and you outgrow it real quick. You're like, man, I wish it had this, this, or this. Well, this has and can do it all. I can't do it all, right? And I realized that with my 2022. And I realized, what am I going to be doing with my Africa Twin the majority of the time? Stuff like this, touring, little fire roads, service roads, like I showed in my previous video. That's the extent that I did with my previous Africa Twin. I honestly did more road, you know, long road trips and stuff, moto camping. But if I did any off-road, it was fire roads. And that's exactly what I'll do with this. So again, that question was in my mind a lot. Man, should have I went with the base model? Okay, I would have saved 2 or 3 grand, pending the options I got. But what I started asking myself is, what am I going to do the majority of the time? Right? And ask yourself that same question. What am I going to be riding? Where am I going to be riding? And how much of each of those will I be riding? Right? Let's be honest. The majority of us are going to be on the road the most of the time. And when you're in the twisties with this 19-inch front wheel on the Adventure Sport, oh my gosh, it's amazing. The lower seat height, the lower suspension, how low the bike sits. The confidence you have on the Africa Twin Adventure Sport now is totally game changing. You go with the base trim or the older trims, they are tall. They're all heavy bikes. Even this one's heavy, but it's so much more centralized and balanced, and you get your feet down. You have so much more confidence on it. So when you go into the base trim, I think some of that's going to be gone. Again, it's going to be a taller, heavy bike, Tenere 700 with a bigger gas tank is what I explained it as. And that's what it is. But again, are you going to be taking the base Africa Twin on serious off-roading? I did my Tiger 900 Rally Pro. I did the whole Smoky 500 on it. I did it perfectly fine. I think I dropped the bike once. I went through all the water crossings. Perfectly fine. I think it might have been 30 pounds lighter than the base Africa Twin, but still, it was a heavy bike. It was a handful, and it was exhausting. I would have had a whole lot more fun on my 300L Rally. And again, if I go do off-roading like that, that is the bike I will take. That is honestly the do-it-all bike for the majority of our skill levels. Right? And think about that. If you want that Africa Twin and you're like, I want that bike that can just do it all. Yes, the Africa Twin can do it, but the majority of us cannot do what the Africa Twin can do, right? Hopefully that makes good sense right there. And then when you think about the 300L Rally, which I always call a mini ADV bike, that is the do-it-all bike that the majority of us can do the stuff on. That makes a lot of good sense in my head. Hopefully it's registering with you guys as well. But again, the biggest difference, so we can't really look at specs. Okay, this has heated grips, this has electronic suspension. You know, you can't look at that. There's really 2 things that you really got to look at. Is number 1, the height of the bike. The base is going to be taller. The longer suspension, the higher seat. But most importantly, I don't know, I think both of them are pretty darn important actually, is that wheel. That 21-inch wheel to the 19-inch wheel. The 21-inch wheel, the longer suspension, the bike's going to sit taller. As I told you, this feels more streamlined, but the base one's going to be taller. It's going to be up here. It's really, you know, just going into my turns. I've, again, never ridden bikes with smaller wheels than 21s. All of mine have been bigger. The Triumph Scrambler. No, actually my NC 750 had a 19-inch front. So, and that was a long time ago. So I catch myself right now having to get used to a 19-inch wheel. I'm taking all of my turns like super wide. When I take this, I mean, it just leans into them, you know what I mean? So I'm having to get used to the 19-inch wheel. But oh my gosh, it is so much fun. Even on the dirt roads, I know, like, okay, I can put my feet down, and if I get a pickle, I can walk myself over, you know? So it's so much fun and so much confidence on such a big bike. I mean, Honda hit the nail on the head right here. I know a lot of you are probably asking, well, what about the Transalp? That'll be for another video, and I will, again, talk a lot about the Africa Twin compared to the Transalp. How does it feel? Not so much specs to specs. We all know the Africa Twin is offering a whole lot more than the Transalp. But again, for that value, is it worth spending, you know, $7,000, $8,000 more on the Adventure Sport Africa Twin, or maybe only $4,000 more on the base Africa Twin. I accidentally just honked my horn at this car, and I got this other car behind me. Like, I think everyone's just cruising the beach right now because the Jeep event, which is fine. Which is fine. So yeah, so you can see they got a bunch of Jeeps down with their legs out. What's with Jeeps and putting their legs out? Like, dude, get a motorcycle, right? I don't know. Hey, there's a good point. Like, half of these Jeeps you're seeing down here, right? This one right here, this Africa Twin will see more dirt than that Jeep will ever see. I'll guarantee you that, right? So there's an example, right? Think about the Africa Twin Adventure Sport like a Jeep, the average user's type Jeep, right? And again, you really got to break it down and decipher it. Are you going to utilize that longer suspension or that 21-inch front wheel? More than likely not. And that is coming from an owner that really thought I could just get out there and conquer every trail. These guys are racing here. They don't know what they want to do. Can I pass one of you, for crying out loud? But I think one of the main factors that will really be a lot of people's deciding point is also price, right? The adventure sport, you're cutting base out the door 17, let's just say right around 18,000 before fees or taxes, whatever you got to pay. You can get the base twin for around 14 and some change, so you're talking darn near $4,000 less for a heck of a bike. But again, it's not a fair comparison, because once you start adding the options onto the adventures, from the adventure sport onto the base twin to make them comparable, you're going to be pretty close to the same price. So don't let the price be your deciding factor. And again, I say that lightly, right? I know money is a big deciding factor, but heck, even with the base Africa Twin, you're spending $15,000 already. You're spending a lot of money on a motorcycle. These are not cheap motorcycles. So if you're up in that price range already, sit down and truly think about what you're going to ride and what you're going to utilize. And if it justifies spending that extra money, you will appreciate it and be thankful you did down the road, and not being like, gosh, I wish I wasn't a cheapskate and just spent that extra money to get what I wanted. Because again, you're buying an expensive bike already, so make the right call out of the gate. But seriously, before you just go buy whatever's at the dealer, which I know a lot of us want to do, okay, I'll take it because that's what you got. Seriously think about what kind of riding are you going to do 90% of the time. I know you got big ambitions and you think you can conquer it all, but trust me, this 19-inch front wheel is game changing. And even though it was that question was in the back of my mind, should I have gone with the base Africa Twin? Every day I get on this, I know 100%, and I am incredibly happy with the decision I made. And I think this is the everybody's Africa Twin. So I hope this discussion was able to help a lot of you out. Again, it was going through my mind and just picking my brain quite a bit. And I think getting on here talking about it just solidified it even more for me. Again, going with that 19-inch wheel. And I'm sure a lot of you is looking at this bike, you're probably thinking, oh, if I go Africa Twin, I need that serious off-road focused one. Just like, again, me when I bought my 2022. But now with them offering this, I truly think this will suit so many more people. So again, I hope this real raw owners discussion was able to help you out. And there'll be so many more videos on this. Heck, just the other day I spent a ridiculous amount of money on some mods. So we'll have mods, we'll have rides, we'll have reviews. I mean, there's going to be a lot of content coming on this bike. Maybe we'll talk about manual compared to DCT, since my previous bike was DCT. And I'll be able to answer some of those questions for you as well. So make sure to subscribe and hit the bell, because we're going to have tons of great content on this bike. We're going to end it right over here on the beach. Great ride. What a great day. It's definitely gusty. Man, I want to come down here on the beach right now. I might go back home, get the wife and son, pack up the skin boards, take the top off the Jeep, and just come down here. It is just gorgeous. Right along with this gorgeous Africa Twin. Again, guys, I hope this was able to help you out, and I hope you can take something from it. Let me know down in the comments if you're getting an Africa Twin, which version, and why. I really want to hear why. But anyways, that's going to be it for this video here. Closing it out. Nice little coastal ride. Nice little coastal view. See you in the next one. Bye now.